All right, we got a couple of questions sent in. Of course, nobody's sending in questions, only one or two people, so I guess we'll just do these and just quit today, right? Number two, 1.1. All right, is this a test question? Yes, it is a test question. Now, you can do this however you want to. For each of the functions y described below, find f of 2. Well, f of 2, and I'm just going to go through and give you the review of this because some people need the review. Some people don't. Some people invented algebra. So I don't know if, Jake, are you one of those people that invented algebra?
No, but I'm pretty dang good at it.
Oh, good. I hear you. At least be confident in yourself. You'll be confident until the first unit test. That's all right. All right. So anytime you have a function, f of x is equal to x plus 2. Well, you can do it the pre-algebra way, back when you didn't know how to do anything. And you can put an x here and a y here, and you can put a -2 here, -1, a 0, 1, and 2. And you can say -2 plus 2 is 0, -1 plus 2 is 1, 0 plus 2 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay? Or you can hold your pinky up and you can say f of -2 is equal to 0, f of -1 is equal to 1, and so on. F of positive 2 is equal to 4. And that is what we call composition of function. Okay? Meaning that whatever's in the parentheses, you're going to plug into the function. Well, what if you get something like this? F of x, okay, is stopping. F of x is equal to 4. Well, that's the same thing. Go back to your redneck roots in pre-algebra. That's the same thing as saying y is equal to 4. So that's the same thing as having a 4 over here. And of course, we already did 4. A 4 would be a 2 as far as the x. So when you have this, you plug in y is equal to 4 and you solve for x. When you have this, you plug in x to solve for what? Y. Plug in x to solve for y. A lot of times students know how to do this. It's just the way they write it, or just the way the people write it, or the instructions are. People go, what are we doing? Well, f of 2, in A, you find x is equal to what? 2. If x is equal to 2, you got to find what? Y. So here's 2, 1, 2. So that would be 2. So on the graph, you find x is equal to 2, and you find your y. You know, I have, as a teacher, when I first started teaching, I had two phobias. One was, leaving my house and my fly not be zipped. And 2 is falling in front of the class. So whenever I have a cord that's dangling in front of the board, I always move it. So hopefully I will not trip over the cord now. All right, so we plug in 2 there. You got any phobias, Jake?
I'm not a big fan of spiders or snakes.
Not a big fan of spiders. Okay, negative. No. Oh, they stay here. Okay, I thought they were going to the graph. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. -2 because they're using this. I was using the graph. I'm sorry. 2, -2. Now plug in x is equal to 2. What is 2 squared?
4.
4 times 3 is 12. 9 minus 12 is negative what?
30.
-3. And then on the graph, 2 is equal to what? 2.
2.
Right there. So there's 3 ways you can actually find those numbers. 1, you can find it in the chart, just like I did here. 2, you can find it in the equation, like I did here. And 3, you can find it in the graph. At x is equal to 2, what is y? Remember, if they ask for x, you're going to get, if they give you x, you're going to get y. If they give you y, you're going to get what? X. It's always the opposite. Okay, is that a good test question? Yes, for a Unit 1 test. So hopefully you're not discouraged yet. Next question, sent. This is number 9. First of all, is it a test question? No, I do not do these questions. I do not put these questions on a test. Why? Because this is the worst way in the world to explain functions. Okay? What is the best way to explain functions? Well, first of all, I'm going to just delete this one. I'm not going to delete it yet. But I'm going to show you what a function is. Now, I'm not talking to the people that invented functions. I'm talking to the people that have never understood functions, because that's who I'm teaching to. All right? So, what is a function? Well, let's draw an ice machine. Sometimes I get y'all mixed up with the 110 class. So, if I've shown you this, I don't think I have, because I haven't done really much, teaching as far as, There's an ice machine. Door lifts up, you scoop ice out of it, okay? Not the ice machine on the front door of your refrigerator. The ice machine in a basement somewhere that you get ice, or in a restaurant you get ice out of, okay? And what goes into the ice machine?
Water.
Good job. Y'all are on the ball, okay? What comes out of the ice machine?
Frozen
Ice.
Ice. Frozen water. You're on task today, buddy. Now I don't think none of y'all know what a funnel is, but if you put a funnel here, Jake, you don't know what a funnel is, do you? Okay, you have a funnel there, you disconnect the line, and you put a funnel there, and you put in 5 gallons of cherry Kool-Aid. Then what are you going to get out?
Cherry Kool-Aid ice.
You're going to get 5 gallons of cherry ice. If you put in 5 gallons of grape Kool-Aid, you're going to get 5 gallons of grape ice. If you put in 10 gallons of lime Kool-Aid, you're going to get 10 gallons of lime ice. So, what is the cherry Kool-Aid and the water? What is that? That's the input. In math, we would call it the x values. Another word for the x values as a group is called the what? The domain. You throw the x, or you throw the water into the ice machine. This is called the what? The function. I don't think I spelled that right. There we go. Function. And that would be 2x plus 6. X squared minus 2. 4x minus 1/2. Those are all your functions. And of course, there's an infinite amount of functions. And then what do you get out of it? Output. What is the output in algebra?
Y.
Your y value. And the group of y values is called the what? Range. Now, which one is dependent on the other? Can you have ice without water? So what is the ice? Is it dependent or independent?
It's dependent.
It's dependent because you can't have ice without what? Is it ENT or ANT? Dependent. I think it's ENT. So therefore, if the ice is dependent, what is the water? Independent. So that means the x is always on the bottom axis. Now, what is a function? I mean, a test to see if something is a function. Each x will give you one what? Y. If you have two y's for each x, it's not a function. Okay? Thus, you have the vertical line test. All right? Or you have two x's for a y, or whatever the case may be. All right? The vertical line test tells you that you have two y's for each x. Let's do an example. Now, if you can visually see this, then when you do that problem, you'll be able to say, oh, okay, I understand. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a graph. And this is a hyperbola, which is a sideways parabola. And let's draw a vertical line through it. The vertical line test tells you that for this x, how many y's do you have? You have this y, and you have this y. So this is not a function. Because for each x, you have how many y's? 2. You have 2 y's. For each x, you have 2 y's. So that's not a function. Let's give you another indication. Well, you already got your vertical line through the circle. Do you have 2 y's for x is equal to 0? So that is not a function. Vertical line test tells you if it crosses more than once, it is not a function. So, in each case, if you've got x values here, and you got y values here, then each one of these x's, 1, 2, 3, should go to 4, 5, 6. Okay? If you have a 3 with 2 values, 2 arrows, it's not a function. Always go back to these 2 pictures right here. Okay? Each x has 1 y. That is a function. No sneezing in class. No sneezing in class. Do it again, you're going to leave. You yawn more than 3 times, you have to leave. Everybody got those rules?
Yes.
Now look at the question. The question states, which one is a function, or which of the following defines a function? I would say A. B does not, because B, you've got 5 with 2 y's. So I'd say alpha. And you feel good about yourself. So you don't put too much makeup on. Question? Okay, nobody's going to speak? Okay, that's fine. All right, so that's 1.1, so we're going to move to 1.2 now. No, I have no idea. Yes?
So when I was trying to do this last night, mine wasn't working. It would pull up the assignment, but the screen would be blank. I wouldn't see
Well,
this.
there's 2 reasons for that. One is, right now, I don't know what's going on with them, but I'm going to hit assignment, and it may do the same thing with me. Okay, let me pull up 1.1. And number 1. And it's taken a while, but there it is. So evidently yesterday was just a cluster for, have you tried it today?
Yeah, I tried it when I got in. It's working now, but it wasn't
Okay.
working. I was trying to do
Yeah,
it.
so, you know,
Well, mine didn't work all weekend.
yeah, I'm sure it did.
I swear.
Yeah, whatever.
You can
Probably
even
wouldn't
ask
have anything to do
Zach.
with all the alcohol you drank this weekend, was it?
Hey, I don't do that stuff.
Oh, no. You just do
Not
barbecue and Coke, don't you?
That's right.
Uh-huh.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, Mountain Dew. Yeah, creek water. All right, so let's do a test question. I'm going to go through the homework and I'm going to pull up some test questions. Here's one. Does the table below define as a function? Well, -1. Do you see? I don't see anywhere where there's a double y, do you? So it looks like it's okay. So let's just draw this function because I'm a firm believer in if you draw a function, you can tell a whole lot more about it than if you just look at the points. So, when in doubt, draw it out.
That's right.
Sir.
Sir, what? Nobody asked a question? Okay. All right, so -1 and 6. -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0 and 9. There's 0, and 9 is way up here. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. 2 and -3. 2, -3. And 3 and -9. So basically, they just had everything out of order is what they had. So there's my function. Draw a vertical line through it. And most of you should know what the vertical line test is. You should have seen that before. How many times does the vertical line test cross this function? So it is a function. So you would say, yes, it is a function. The domain is -1. Which way do we read?
Left to right.
Left to right, unless you're from Middle East, Masalama. That means go in peace. 3 is right here. So my domain is from -1 to 3. My range, what's my lowest number on the range? -9, isn't it?
No, bro.
To what's my highest number on the range?
9.
And that is and it's easier to see when you draw it or graph it on the graphing calculator. I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter. Here is your domain. Those are the numbers that can be used in this function. Here is your range.
Oh, I remember this now.
Say again.
I said I remember this now.
Good. That's exactly what we're supposed to be doing in these sections. Knocking the cobwebs loose. Or in Jake's case, probably learning all this stuff for the first time.
Remember, I invented it.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sorry. You also created the space shuttle and a cure for cancer too, didn't you, Jake? I forgot that.
Right.
That's
I'm
why
just
you're
taking
in
this class 'cause I
Tri-County
got
Freaking
bored.
Tech, right? Yeah.
Well, I'm just taking this class because I got bored.
You're taking it for fun, ain't you?
That's right.
Okay.
I heard you were a fun dude.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm still waiting on that.
-1, comma, 3. And range is -9. Technically, those braces are wrong, but I don't know if they're going to mark it wrong or not, because you're not supposed to put braces. They're supposed to be brackets because you actually include these numbers. So that's a technicality. It may mark it wrong because I'm not putting brackets. Yep. So put brackets, I guess. I don't know if they want. I don't know what they want, so I'm going to put brackets now. And if not, then they're wanting it in set builder notation, and I'll take either. Because it doesn't say put in set builder notation or an interval notation, so I have no idea what they want. Oh, they want you to actually put the numbers. Okay, whatever. Whatever. What's my -1 to 3, and then 6 to what? Or 9 to -9.
Oh, they want us to put it in order?
They want you to put the integers. It doesn't matter what order they're in, as long as you have them, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
That's a little bit. No, that's not a good test question, because I would want what I wrote, from -1 to 3, and
That's
from
what I think.
-9 to +9. That's what I would want. So technically, this is a splitting hairs 3 ways question, and I don't like those questions. I'll take either answer on a test. Let's see if I can find. There's a good test question. I give you several of these questions just to see if you're sentient. And what's the answer to this one? Whatever. Final check. Yeah. Yeah, no. That's a hyperbola. I don't like that one. That's too much work. As far as a test question, I don't like those at all. I'll let you know what a test question is. There's a test question. Now, they're not defining whether they want integers or real numbers. So I would just say from my domain is -7 to +5. I'll let y'all look at it. There you go. Let me make it bigger. Hold on. There you go. Write down the domain and range. Now write it down both ways, because I think they're wanting the individual numbers, the integers. So that's why they got the braces instead of the brackets. But you could actually say that this function goes from -7 to +5, and from -5 to +5, as far as the domain and range. But since they don't have a line connecting the dots, that's why you have to give the numbers, okay? It's a technicality. So, domain is -5, negative what? I'm sorry, -7, -5, -3, 0, 3, and 5, right? And now, the range is -3, I'm looking, no, that's -5. -5, -3,
Oh, it's incorrect.
2, 3, and 5. So that's probably going to be your answers. So that's, again, you're splitting hairs. I'd like to see a function that's actually got the lines on it, but there we go. This is a test question. So let me blow it up. I want to blow up here. Okay, it won't blow up, so. Damn Russians. Damn Russians are into everything. So what is the domain? Now be careful, that's -8. So between that'd be -12. What would that be? -20. So domain is -20 to 16. And then what's the range?
Wait, so
-6 to 1. So now you're going to type in interval notation, your brackets, because it's inclusive, because you got dots, closed dots on the end. So brackets, negative, did we say that was -20, comma, 16, close brackets,
I can't please everybody right there.
and -6, comma, oh, of course. Hard enough to do with a computer, much less when you got 3 different screens. -6 to what? +1, close brackets. And you feel good about yourself. Now that's one question. I like that question because it's got the function it's got the dots connected, and it's not, you're not splitting hairs by writing in interval notation. So I like that one. So, you know, so far, the 2 or 3 questions I've seen is the hyperbola, the circle, this one. I think we're going to start getting into test questions now. Okay, this one, you know it's not a function because that's the basic, that is the basic form of a what? Circle. Good, you remember that. Good. Write that down. Anytime you got x squared and y squared, that's a circle, so it's not a function. Write that down in your notes. And again, I'm thinking,
Reason why.
yeah, x is squared and y is squared. When both of them are squared, that's usually a circle or an ellipse, depending on, or the more ellipse. I don't do wordy questions, those take too long. I don't do those questions either because they take too long. Okay, this one you might see on a homework question, but I'm not going to ask one like that on you. It's going to basically P of 4. So that means I will plug in 4. So 4 is right there. So I got a monthly payment of $718 and a total cost of $34, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And let's see, what are they doing? Okay, they are doing, a couple wants to buy a $30,000 car and can borrow the money for a purchase at 7%, pay it off for 3, 4, 5 years. The table to the right gives the monthly payment and cost of the purchase or the payment plans. Okay? Suppose that when the payment is over 2 years, P of T represents the monthly payment and C of T represents the cost, blah, blah, blah. Use this information to find P of 4. Okay. You got a $718 payment, and you basically paying $34.05 for whatever you're buying. Okay? I don't understand. I mean, they're giving you the total cost. There's the total cost right there, 34. I don't understand what.
Just get one monthly payment.
Oh, it just wants the monthly payment? Okay. If that's what it's saying, I don't see where it says that. Because this is the total cost. That's the total cost, and that's the payment. So I don't understand which one it's asking for. Let's just put 718. I do not like confusing questions. I want it to be pretty straightforward. So this is not a test question because I need to read the question over. I might have read it too fast, but I don't know which one they want. Okay, maybe they have a, what is the total cost of the over 3 years? Well, the total cost over 3 years is $33,347. Okay, that would be cost right here. C of 3 would be, okay, they're doing this in a very confusing way. 33,347, 33,347.52. You know, this is not a good question. The way they've got it worded sucks. We're going to go on to another question. I'm going to pick out questions that, let's see what this one says. Table below gives a country median's age of first marriage, blah, 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 blah. Here's the data, blah, 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 blah. If the function median for men 1890, what's 1890? 1890 is going to be what?
27.5.
7.5.
Okay, it says find median age for men. So they're just asking you to read a table. Okay, I'm not going to ask too many of those. If you can read a table, that's good. I want to get to the actual, let me see what this one says. I'm trying to show you what I look at when I make a test. I'm not looking for confusing questions, and I hate A through Z. Those are useless. A through D is about as far as I'll go through. If you get an A through G, you can forget that as a test. But anyway, find the output when the output is 2000. Explain its meaning. 2000 is right in here. You're going to have to blow it up a little bit. 2000, I would say, where's So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 2,000 is right there. 2,000 is going to be right at 90 to 95. I'd say probably 93 or 94. So, however, they're asking this question. Find the output when the input is 2,000. 94. Would it be 93? Is it per? Sorry. 94 or 93? What is it? 93? 93? Let's say 93. And we feel good about ourselves. Okay? And it says up here, it should say per 1,000 girls somewhere up in here. So, is that a test question? No. But remember, we're doing a lot of reviewing, so it'll take a few minutes for us to get to the test questions. The revenue from the sale of specialty golf hats is given by the function R of X is equal to 29X, where X is the number of hats sold. What is R of 300? What do we do with 300? Plug it in. So plug in 29 times 300, be dang old. Oh, I was doing it in my head. 8,700, that sounds good for me. 8,700, and you feel good about yourself. And it says, what is the revenue from the sale of 3,000 hats? Are you just doing the same thing? So what's 3,000 hats times 29?
I think it's just asking for context. It's still 300.
Okay. No, I figured it was this one. Generates a revenue of 8,700. Selling 300 hats. What is the revenue from the sale of 3,000 hats? Now plug in 3,000. What's 3,000 times 29? 87,000. I ain't got any good test questions yet. Okay, here we go. This looks like a good test question because they give you the formula. An electric utility company determines the monthly bill by charging 76 cents per hour. Okay, now I know it says 75.9. I have several degrees. I just said 76 because it's in my head is 76. You use plus a basic charge of 19, which is in this formula right here. Okay? Thus, the monthly charge is given by the formula, blah, 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 where W is the number of kilowatt hours. So, plug in 3,000 into that formula. And then, what is the monthly charge if 9,500? So, you're going to plug 9,500 in. So, what is 0.759 times, what did it say, 3,000? Plus 1965. Somebody give me that one. 2277. 22.77. Is that what you got?
Just 2,296.65.
Okay, that sounds a little bit better. I don't know why they're asking for two things. It's just one of those where the same thing is the same answer. What did you get? Yeah.
2,296.75.
2,296.75.
That's right.
And I think they want you to put the same thing here. I don't know why. 96.
It'll be 60.
I'd say round to the nearest what? Say 65. Okay, so y'all give me the right answer. Is it 65 or 75? Okay, 65 and 65 here. So what are we doing? We plugging in what? Plugging and chugging. And you're writing the answer down twice because you don't know that the answer here is dollars here. You ain't that smart. So you have to put it twice. So, the monthly charge, somebody give me 9,500. Plug in 9,500 for X. Or in this case, W. Yeah, Yeah, y'all gonna hear Clemson several times Thursday. Clemson. Here we are in Clemson, South Carolina. Been here all my life and I've never heard of Clemson. Jake, plug in 9500. What'd you get? Jake's watching porn. Somebody give me the answer.
7,230.
7,230. Even?
0.50.
0.15.
That's
Does
what I
everybody
had.
see how you got those answers? You just plug and what? Plug and
Chug.
chug. So that's a good problem. I like that problem. Here's another good problem. The profit from the production and sale of music players is given by the function blah, 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 where X is the number of units produced and sold. Plug in 100, plug in 5,900. Now you'll have to use your calculator on this for some of you that, has a name for your calculator and has a little bed at home for your calculator and uses your calculator as a security blanket. Plug and chug. Pendleton, settle down. Is there some kind of gas in that room at Pendleton that makes everybody not talk? Is there something in there or what? Weaned on a pickle. 54,500. Even? No, I think they hate me. I think that's what it is. You hate me, Pendleton? Is that what it is?
No. We do hear it easily.
I don't care about you, Jake. What does P of 100 equals 54? All right, which one is it? 100 units generate a profit of 54.5. Yeah. Some of these are kind of insulting your intelligence. That's why I like to go through and pick problems and tell you if they're, but I've already done all your homework for you on 1.1, so I'm going to move on to 1.2. All of 1.1 is plug and chug. Y'all got that? You think y'all can do 1.1 homework now? For some of you, let's make fun of people. Let's see who hasn't done their homework. Yeah, my grandmother died 5 times. Let's make fun of Pendleton since they're weaned on a pickle. Let's see, here's Pendleton.
How you gonna?
Huh? My grandmother died and I had 5 flat tires and okay, so none of y'all have done any homework. 5 have done homework. Pendleton, y'all suck. So I wouldn't talk if I was y'all either because y'all really suck. Let's make fun of Jake now.
Wow.
I guarantee you, Jake at State Farm, I guarantee you he ain't done nothing.
42.
Jake, you did the first one good. Good job. And he's the leader. Boy, you know what that Mr. Barton and Mr. Smith, you know what that says about y'all?
It wasn't working.
That says y'all suck.
Flat tire.
Smith
I've been
had
doing mine
7 flat
all
tires.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, let's make fun of Anderson now. I'm an equal opportunity offender. Okay, Anderson is doing pretty good. Except for 2 people, y'all suck. Okay? Mr. McCullough and Mr. Marshall, y'all are doing good. Mr. Land, you suck. And the other Mr. McCullough, you suck. Jake, you're a winner.
Thank you.
Pendleton, y'all suck. I don't know what. Let's hear some excuses, Pendleton. What's your excuses? Grandmother die or what? Eating too many pickles, maybe? Got some people ain't even dadgum tried. Look, dadgum. There's about 6 of y'all that ain't even done squat. Maybe y'all need to talk a little bit more. Maybe y'all get a little bit more done.
There's only 2.5 already. 2.5 already.
Are y'all like this, Pendleton? Are y'all like this in your other classes?
No.
No.
No, it's just me.
Yeah.
It don't matter. I don't have smokestacks on my truck, so I'm confident. I ain't worried. Let's move to 1.2.
I bet he drives a Prius.
What'd you say?
You drive a Prius.
Hell to the no. Do I look like a snowflake? All right. Y is equal to x cubed plus 2. Go ahead and do those values right quick. That's a good test question. You should be able to knock that out in a couple of seconds. Knock it out. If you can't, then consider yourself a failure. And it looks like Pendleton, y'all are really jumping on the failure wagon. Y'all need to get on the ball. I'm just kidding. Nobody take that to heart. Don't go home and tell your mom and daddy I called you a failure. It's a joke. Golly mom. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Plug and chug. Parentheses cubed plus 2. Parentheses cubed plus 2. Parentheses cubed plus 2. Parentheses cubed plus 2. Parentheses cubed
Oh.
plus 2. Parentheses cubed. And we're going to take a handy dandy birthday. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. I'm doing this animation for y'all. Plus 2. Because since you're not talking to me, I don't know what is easy to you, and I don't know what's hard, and I don't know what's reviewable. So, and you're not sending me any Ask My Instruction. You know, I only got 2, and you've had a week to work on your homework. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's my fault. Again. -3 to the third power is what?
It's -7. No, the first part's -9, then it goes to -7.
-3 to the third power is -27.
-25.
There you go. Plus 2 is -25. What's -2 to the third power? -8 plus 2?
-6.
-1 plus 2?
1.
I'll do this one for you. 2. 1 plus 2?
10. 29.
10.
I was going already.
Some of y'all don't know what planet you're on. 2 to the third is 8. That's 10. And 3 to the third, 27, 29. And there's your answer. Make sure I didn't make a mistake. I could. I make mistakes every once in a while. What? It's okay, Easley. It's okay to talk. Y'all know that. Pendleton hadn't figured that out yet, but easily y'all can talk.
Thank you.
I don't know what B's going to ask. -25, -6, +1, 2, 3, 10, and 29.
Oh.
And we feel good about ourselves. And they want you to graph it. Oh, God. This is gonna cause a lot of y'all to melt down. Anyway, I don't know what it looks like, so it says click to enlarge the graph. Well, I'm trying, won't let me. There we go. And I don't know, -3, -25. I don't know if this is it's a cubic function, so we need to hit the cube. We all know what a cube looks like, right? It looks like that. So I don't know how many points it wants us to put. Does anybody know? Anybody know? There's only like 2 of y'all that's done this homework. So -3, -25, no, -2, -6, -2, -6, -1 and 1, 0 and 2. I think I messed up. Did I mess up right there? 1 and 3. Is that 1 and 3? There we go. And we feel good about ourselves. Now that's a good test. This is a good test question. I don't know why they said A through B and they've already asked A and B. I guess graphing it's not considered B. Okay. Graph it on your calculator and it's going to not look like this because that's going the wrong direction. It's going to not look like that. So even if you're non-sentient, you should be able to mark these two out because they're going the wrong one. They're going the wrong way. So it's one of these two. So take your graphing calculator and graph it. I don't know, I'm just going to say B, but I don't have a graphing calculator and I'm not going to pull it up right now. So I'm just going to say B. You could possibly get that wrong. And that's it. That's a good test question. So make sure you can do 1 or 2 of those. I like that one. Okay, there's a third. Of course, you need to be able to graph these on your calculator also. X minus 1. Of course, you plug in 1. What's the domain of this function? All numbers except for what? 1. Why? Because what can you not have in the denominator? What number can you not have? 0. So what will give you 0? A 1. So this is undefined. So anytime you have a radical with a even index or a rational, a fraction with the variable in the denominator, the domain is affected. So you would put undefined right here. Or capital N. And the rest you plug and chug. So what's -2 minus 1? -3, so that's going to be a -1. What is -1? I'm sorry. Yeah. What's -1 minus 1? -2, which would be -3/2. 0 minus 1, that'd be -3.
That makes it negative.
Should. That's all right. 3 over 1 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. That'd be 3/2. And 4 minus 1 is 3. That'd be 1. So make sure you can plug and chug into that function also. And what was that? Was that Pendleton campus? Was that?
That was another room.
There's another room.
Oh, yeah, of course, there's another room. It couldn't be this room. Oh, hell no. They wouldn't know. Can't do that. Next, and you need to graph that on your graphing calculator. I'm not going to graph it on the calculator, although 3 over x is a half of a volcano. So it's going to look like one of these. The -1 tells me that it's a horizontal shift of 1 to the right. So I would say it's either B or C. I'd say B because C is going the wrong direction. Next. All right, let's do this one without a calculator. Now, we're going to see how well you know your algebra now. 2x, what was it, 2x minus 3? 2x squared minus 3. So, tell me what this function looks like without using your calculator. F of x is equal to 2x minus 3. 2x squared minus 3. F of x is equal to 2x squared, 2x squared minus 3. Well, it's got a vertical shift of 3 down. 2 means it's going to be narrow. And positive 2 means that it's going to be open and upward. And the x squared means it's going to be a parabola. So we've got looks like a y-intercept of -3. So your function is going to look like something like this. Now we don't know the vertex, but it's going to open up and it's going to look like something like this. Don't know what the vertex is, so let's find the vertex without a calculator. So I gotta find out who knows what. So I figure this is as good a place as any. So I go 2x squared plus blank is equal to, or hold on a second, yeah, plus 0x, let me go back. Two x squared plus 0x plus blank is equal to 3 plus blank. Factor out of 2, x squared plus 0x plus blank is equal to 3 plus 2 times blank. Half of 0 is 0. 0 squared is 0. So that's going to be 2 times x plus 0. Quantity squared is equal to 3 plus 0 is 3. So we've got a vertex of 0 and 3. 0, comma, -3. And divide by 2, x plus 0. Quantity squared is equal to 3 over 2. X plus 0 is equal to the square root of 3 over the square root of 2, which is times the square root of 2, square root of 2, which is equal to the square root of 6 over 2. So my x-intercepts are positive or negative square root of 6 over 2. So square root of 6, what is the square root of 6 in your calculator? Square root of 6 on your calculator. That means y'all need to be looking in your calculator and tell me what the square root of 6 is.
2.49.
2.45.
2.45.
Thank you. That was articulated and volume. Thank you. 2.45 over 2 is going to be 2.5 divided by 2. What does that come out to be?
1.22. 1.22.
1.22 on this side and negative 1.22 on this side. Now, there's probably a couple of y'all going, what the hell did he just do? Okay, this is called completing the square. I'm going to make sure everybody knows how to do this because you're not talking to me, so you don't talk to me and tell me what you know and what you don't know, then I'm just going to assume that we're going to move forward. Completing the square. No, I do not use the quadratic formula because the quadratic formula, 1, makes you depend on your calculator, and 2, it's only used when you have decimals. So,
And you know it's open, it's an open ups.
because the
it's
2 is positive.
Correct.
And that's all vertical horizontal shifts without a calculator. The only thing we used a calculator on was the square root of 6, which I could have done that without a calculator by doing square root of 4 is what? 2. Square root of 9 is what? 3. 2.5 is in the middle. 4 to 9 is 5. Half of 9 is 2.5. So the square root of 6.5 is equal to 2.5. We need the square root of 6. So I would say probably around 2.4. So what is the square root of 6?
Oh, you want to put,
Yeah, what is the square root of 6?
2.45.
It's a miracle. Actually, 2.45, yeah. I said 2.4, but close enough for government work if you're sketching a graph.
so the completing the square, like,
We're pretty
you
good.
say you're gonna explain that, or?
No, I just assumed that y'all know it.
Okay, so I'm confused on that, like,
Oh, are you talking to me?
yeah.
Wow, that's called communication. Easily, how good are we on completing the square?
Pretty good.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, besides Jake, Mr. Smith, he's back there watching porn, isn't he? What is he doing?
Guilty
How
as
good are
charged.
you completing the square?
I'm pretty good.
Okay, then Anderson and Easley, we're good. We can move on. Because I know everybody at Pendleton is good with completing the square.
I was confused.
Oh, it doesn't matter about you. Yeah, we're gonna go over it.
Oh,
Because I know Pendleton, there's people up there that don't know how to do it, even though they don't talk about it. That's fine. Next, so that's how you do that question. If you don't have a calculator, that's how we're gonna do it. If you do have a calculator, match it up. If you have a calculator and you can't find it, then there's a problem. Because you can easily take out what? D and B, because that would be a negative 2x squared, because it's opening which way? Downward. So even if you don't know what you're doing, you still got a 50-50 chance of getting it right.
A positive 3.
What?
A from goes up.
Yeah.
3.
There you go, vertical shift.
Right.
Good. Good job. So B, C is your answer. And that's all that you should remember all of this from Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. So if you've never heard of completing the square, you better send in some questions, or you better, because you're heading that way. By the time we get through with Unit 1, you'll be completing the square. Graph the function with a graphing utility, or, okay, that one is a graph because it's to the 3rd power, and you don't want to fool with long division. If you do, knock yourself out. But that one is a calculator question, and that is a test question, and I would use that on a test just to test your calculator skills. It is a regular cubic function, so it's going to be either B or D. Why is it not going to be A or C? Because A or C would be a negative 2x cubed. So it's either going to be B or D.
Can you go over how we use our calculator?
No, I don't feel like it. Yeah, I'll go over it. Anybody at Pendleton want to go over it? All right, they'll talk. When they get lost on one of these homeworks, they'll talk. They'll be like, slow the hell down. That's what they'll say. Well, where'd my question go? There it is. There we go. So type in on and graph or y is equal, and then type in 2x caret symbol cubed plus 6x caret symbol 2, and hit graph. There it is. So it's B. Easley, you good?
Yes, sir.
Y'all good?
Yeah.
Pendleton, y'all good?
Work.
Yeah.
Next.
Awesome.
Okay. X squared in the denominator looks like a volcano. So it's either B or D. Why is it not A or C? Because you'd have a negative out front. So where's the volcano? B or D? So put it in your calculator. Y is equal. I'm going to use parentheses. So I'm going to use 6 divided by parentheses X quantity squared plus 2. Whatever. Plus 2. Close parentheses. And hit graph. And I would say you're probably going to have to blow it up a little bit down here. The y-intercept, somebody tell me what the y-intercept is. 3? Yep, you're right. And if you don't know how I found the y-intercept, then you need to start sending questions because
6 divided by 2.
good job. All right, so you need to look at the answers and match the one that has 3.
So that would be 2.
I don't know. You have to look at both of them. I don't know which one.
Whatever.
Yeah, you have to
Always got
look.
about ones, or we just change.
I don't know. Let me look and see. You'd have to. It looks like it's this one.
Yeah.
I think it's this one, but they don't give you much room.
Right.
They don't. I see 3 more. I see 2 under it. This one I only see 1 under it. I think this is 2 and this is 3, so I'd go with D. You feel good about yourself. Yes, it has a turning point. Because what's 2 minus 1?
1.
1. So you have at least 1 turning point. You always take the degree and minus 1, and that's your turning point.
Your
Again,
degree is what?
that's where x squared is a degree. It's a second degree. So what's 2 minus 1? 1. So you have 1 turning point. Of course, that is review again. That's what you should know. But that's why Ask My Instructor is so important. Because I'm going to keep moving unless y'all start sending me questions.
So if
Okay.
it was like 4,
Next.
it'd be 3.
Yes, there'd be 3 turning points. Find an approximate viewing window. This is a calculator drill. I don't give these on tests very much. If I do, it's just so you can use your calculator. I'm not going to worry about that. You got 4 different windows to set it to the 4 different windows and find which one fits better. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. That's a calculator drill. That's for the calculator drill team. You know, those people that name your calculator and hear it with you at all times. And same thing here. I'm not going to go over that. Use a calculator or a spreadsheet. Yeah, you would have to type in. You could do that. I could use a spreadsheet. I don't use a calculator to do this, but you could use a spreadsheet, 12, 16, 22, and then put the formula in and pick it out. I can do that, but not right now. If somebody wants to send me this for a help question, I will do it tomorrow, meaning when? Thursday, but not right now because I want to try to get as much in the next 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, because like I say, I'm not getting much input from y'all, so I'm trying to cover as many sections as I can until y'all tell me to slow down, which you will. Again, the best thing to do here is take it, click this little thing right here, send it to Excel. I'll do this one because I can send it to Excel and I don't have to type it in. Dang old highlight, dang old insert. You can do a scatter plot. So what does it look like? Looks like an increasing curve, doesn't it? Right. So go back to the handy dandy homework. And which one does it look like? The only possible answer is B. And you feel good about yourself. That would be a test question. I do not mind working on Excel. I would rather you know how to use Excel than the idiot box. Because the Excel, you have to actually do a whole lot more than you do with the calculator. So, but the calculator has its place. It has its place. Suppose the cost, blah, blah, blah. Graph the function. This is a good one because you actually have to think, all right? Graph the function of a viewing window with x between 0 and 50. You have to go to the window and put an x min of -5 and an x max of 60. Now, why would I do -5 and 60? So you would be able to see what it looks like past those limits, okay? So type it in, set the window to -1 to 60, -5 to 60, -10 to 60, -1 to 61, just to see what it looks like. That's the calculator drill. It's not a test question. That's another good question if they let you. They don't put it in the. No. I will give you one of these on a test if it has the icon to send to the Excel spreadsheet. But if it doesn't have it, I'm not going to make you type it in your calculator because that's just calculator drill. And y'all have had that for the last 3 years in high school. I'm not going to do that. There's one. First of all, open in Excel, pull it up, see what it looks like, highlight, insert, scatter plot. So we know what it looks like now. What does it look like? Looks like an increasing curve, goes down a little bit, then comes back up. Okay, if you wanted to draw a regression line there, you would right click, I don't know if that's what they want, right click on the dots and hit add trend line and do a linear, because that's what they're asking for, I think. So look for going below the first 3 and going below the last 2. So below the first 3 and below the last 2. Go back to your question. And it looks like the only one it could be is A, because all the other ones are going the wrong backwards. Okay. So which one is it? Oh, it's got more choices. Sorry. Okay, it'd be G, it looks like. That's a good test question. I like that one. I've already done 1.2. Let's move on to 1.3. We got a few more minutes. Well, like I said, squeaky door gets what? 3. But a lot of people haven't done any homework, so that'll change. Get out of that. Let's see what 1.3 says. 1.3. Which of the functions are linear? Okay. This is where we get into the family of graphs. I want everybody to take a sheet of paper, and it's going to be the last thing I talk about. I know you got 4 minutes, so I don't need any of y'all to go into convulsions. Okay? I'm going to show you this one thing, and then I'm going to let y'all do your little convulsions while I call the roll. All right, so what is your family? Take a piece of paper, turn it landscape, and I want you to draw 8 areas. Like that. The landscape is sideways. I can't get nothing past y'all. Y'all top notch.
We're top notch.
X to the first, X to the second, X to the third, X to the fourth, square root of x, absolute value of x, 1 over x, 1 over x squared, and I'll leave the other two for logs later on. So what does x to the first power look like? Straight line. That's called linear. If your function is y is equal to x plus 2, that's a linear function. What is x squared? A parabola. That's what I called it in my Math 110 class. And Dr. Gabati says, Mr. McLeod, I do not understand what you're saying. That there's a parabola. It's a parabola. Okay? That's a quadratic. X cubed. X to the 4th. This is where you get into the quartic sections. They look like a parabola. It's an even exponent. The even exponent squares out the bottom. If it's x to the 6th, it'll be more squared out. If it's x to the 8th, it'll be even more squared out. Square root of x, that's a swoosh. Absolute value, absolute vodka. What does value in vodka stand? What does it start with?
V.
So the graph looks like a V. 1 over x is half a volcano. 1 over x squared is a what? Full volcano. This is your family of graphs. This is what we're going to be working with in the next few sections with your vertical, horizontal shifts, as well as your quadratics and completing the square. Now this is 1.3, so you'll need to be working on 1.2 through 1.4. Because again, a lot of you know this stuff because it's review. So I need you to start working. Those 6 or 7 people at Pendleton that haven't done a thing, you need to get started. Everybody should be finished with 1.1. Okay, let me take the roll. And y'all can leave after I call the roll.